Hey everyone, welcome to Analysts After Work. I'm getting better at that. I think the initial thing as opposed to, oh, we're on now. Uh Welcome to Analysts After Work. We've already got AJ and Amy out and obviously, you know what, Jen, just get to it.
Well, thank you. Happy birthday, Amy.
Happy birthday, Amy!
Jared wants to sing.
Jared wants to sing, so we're gonna let him.
So,
Yep.
you let me say, I want to preface this first. I am a terrible singer, but it's. I'll share the same story I share with the two of you off stage. Is that with Bob's unfortunate passing, every time I sing in the car, every time I sing any little, even start humming a tune, I think of him. So, in the spirit of that, let's sing to Amy. Ready?
All right.
I'm gonna conduct.
You start. Jared?
All right.
We did not rehearse this.
Birthday to
To
you.
you.
Happy
birthday
to
to
you.
you. Happy birthday, dear Amy.
Happy birthday
Birthday
to
to you.
Yay!
Yay! Oh, streamers.
Cheers.
Woo! Birthday streamers.
Cheers.
Oh, now the dog wants the birthday streamers.
Well, that's fine.
The dog doesn't always get what the dog wants, does he?
No.
No, the
It's
dog's
just like our
upstairs.
stakeholders in real life.
So
Anyway.
I know what you think you want, but no, you can't have it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Screw you.
That
Here we
reminds me
are
of my favorite quote,
on
but I'll talk about that later.
Screw You. That's your favorite quote?
No.
Here we are on U.S. Thanksgiving, and with only the second all Canadian edition of Analysts After Work, because I kept messaging people like, hey, do you guys want to be on the show? No, I don't want to do that week. I don't want to do that week. I don't want to do. But nobody actually. It was actually Dina Chadwick who's going to be on next week that finally said, I can't be on that Thursday. It's U.S. Thanksgiving. And I'm like, well, that makes sense why everyone was saying no, because who wouldn't want to be on this show? But
right.
But finally, I just didn't realize. But to our American friends, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving. A month late, but that's okay. Cheers to you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Cheers.
You all have made multiple appearances on the show. We'll start with you, Jen. What are you joining us with today?
An Americano.
Ah, classy.
There's no alcohol in it. It's caffeinated, but I'm in my trophy mom cup that I got from my daughters a couple of years ago.
Ah.
So Jen, in true Canadian fashion, is that a double then?
It is not. It's actually black.
Oh, okay.
Which is also how you describe a green tea if you want nothing in it. You say black, which is really weird because it's not black, it's green.
Mm-hmm. Well, but it's still sort of like translucent, and isn't it just like au naturel? Wouldn't that be a better way of describing it? I just want the thing. I just want the tea.
Can you next time you go through Tim Hortons drive-through, can you order your tea au naturel and see what you get?
I will. I have a friend who back when you were allowed to go out to stores, we would go to Starbucks, and he for years has refused to order to the menu. And so there was one night where he went up and he was like, I'll have the big hot chocolate. And they're like, the big one? Yeah, the big one. Do you mean the venti?
The venti?
Is that the big one? It's the biggest one we have. Then that's the one I want. he just refuses to, and he makes fun of us for that. I'll have a grande. I'm also an Americano. I'll have a grande Americano with 1 sugar and milk, and he just is not having it. And you know what? Respect. I'll let you know. I'm going to try that. Can I have a green tea au naturel? Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So an Americano, Jared. You got something special.
I am having the elicitation. The real elicitation. So you and I talked this earlier. Yes. The last time I think we tried it, perhaps we didn't have all of the ingredients, or perhaps I just chose not to put anything non-alcoholic in it. So I had the martini version of it, but this is the full elicitation with the orange juice and the 7-Up.
The proper, and it's actually pretty good.
Follow the directions, and it's
Right.
actually not bad.
Right. When there's a recipe, if you deviate from it, you can't be upset with the results. That's so, so. And so we've got AJ, who I guess is mocking me because I've been drinking the Aperol from the elicitation straight, and it's sickeningly sweet. AJ, and thank you for joining us. I know it's your Thanksgiving, brother. I am, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I am partaking in some Basil Hayden's Kentucky bourbon. It is delightful.
So Vince, yeah. I was sure you were going to say, in spirit of American Thanksgiving, I'm drinking wild turkey.
No, I mean, this is still really really good stuff. But I mean, it's from America, and so in America. So in honor of the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday, I am drinking. Normally, I would be either that terrible Aperol, which I just got to get through, or like a single malt Scotch. But I'm doing a friend of mine, Mike Martino, who was on the show a couple weeks ago and is going to be on again on the special episode I'm doing at the end of the year. Turned me onto this stuff. It is tremendous, and I figured fitting given the holiday.
All right, you'd have to send me that so that I can try it.
Basil, yeah, it was really hard to find where I am. About an hour out of Toronto. Like, it was just not available, and finally it came to my local LCBO, and I now have 2 bottles just sort of sitting just waiting for and this one, because I needed to try it.
You need backups for sure.
I needed some back. Well, the holidays are coming, and we're going back up in case counts, and so who knows if we're going to be under lockdown again. I needed to be ready.
Well,
right?
You could be in my province, where we have 1/3 the population of Ontario, yet have the same number of cases.
Yeah.
And our premier just yesterday decided to actually do, or yesterday the day before, do something about it, and it was really only half measured anyway. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think everyone is handling it a little different. As we've had our challenges, and yet we're still performing better than some other countries relatively. But it's not without not to get all political here. I mean, there was a big Auditor General's report.
Saw that
for Ontario. It's not a good look. Not a good look for the provincial government. But you know what? I still think everyone is trying to do their best to figure out how to get through this. This is an unprecedented situation. Imagine gathering requirements on something like this. Like, how could you?
No, absolutely.
And so, I still believe everyone is still operating with good intent and just making mistakes. And I think that's to be expected.
Also, after so many months of having the pandemic, I think people they're getting complacent because they're just absolutely exhausted with the whole thing. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it is exhausting, right? Like, you're used to
doing nothing is exhausting.
It really is, though, and it's just it has an effect on you that you just I don't know. I've tried to stay. Like, I still think I'm doing better than probably the average person as far as staying away from people.
But I think everyone thinks that.
I know, that's the problem, right? So,
to your point.
Yeah.
Like my husband says he's been practicing for this his whole life.
Yeah, no,
avoiding people, right?
Same.
So you both know that I work from home when I'm not traveling.
Anyway, yeah.
So for me, there shouldn't be any real change, right? I mean, work. Mm-hmm. You work from home and you keep doing that. So there hasn't really been a fundamental change, but there's a completely different paradigm saying you're going to work from home, you have no choice versus
Right.
the regular day when that's where the choice lies.
Right. Well, and you also have that balance, right? Like you're home, but then you're probably like you were 2 or 3 times a month probably on the road. So
Yeah.
you go through stretches, right? Like I'm home for 2 weeks, then I'm going to India
Right.
for a week, and then I'm home for a week, and same with you, Jen. I know you were doing a lot of traveling prior as well. So there's that aspect to it, and like but I agree with you, Jared. There's a huge difference between you are able to stay home and you have to stay home. Those are two very, very big. There's a big distinction there.
So last year, to put it in perspective, I was out of the house or out of the city basically for 123 days. That's 1 out of every 4 days.
Wow.
Okay.
So being at home for the past 6 million days is a completely different paradigm. It feels that way. It's funny. The other day, my son to me says, "Dad, you realize that today is March 210th?" The scary part was I did the calculations. He was right.
He was right. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad that he's speaking with data.
Absolutely.
Because hey, if you're going to say something like that, you got to be right.
Exactly.
Respect. So what are you guys doing to observe the holiest of turkey days in our neighbors to the south? Anything special? Or are you gearing up for Black Friday, which kicks off tomorrow?
I've been doing all my shopping.
Excellent.
Ahead of time. I may have a look and see what is coming up, but
You're done.
I wanted to beat the rush, seriously, because I figured that this year there would be more online shopping, which would mean more delays or things running out. So I actually started the online shopping early to beat the rush.
Okay. Jared?
So it's interesting. I can't remember who I was talking to about this. They were living in Ontario, and of course the lockdown was looming and whatnot. So the day before the lockdown, everybody went to the mall to finish their Christmas shopping before the lockdown really kicked in hard.
Yeah.
I have done all of my shopping online. I think I joke that I'm on a first name basis with the Amazon delivery driver. Because it's not uncommon to get 5 or 6 deliveries a week. But
Wow.
I'm done. I've boxed everything up. I've got to wrap this weekend, and I'm done.
Awesome. We're also done. I am going for a drive down into locked down Toronto on Saturday to drop everything off at my parents' place. Not planning to go inside, but we've decided with my sisters that is going to be the hub where we're going to drop everything off. So because we're done, it's like, let's get it out of the house, let's get it over to my parents' place, and just like everyone can go pick it up whenever they feel like it in advance of the holiday. Because I think it is. I mean, Toronto's in lockdown until I think they said the 21st, and even that, like, nothing's gonna happen. It's not like on the 22nd everyone's gonna emerge like out of hibernation and like, okay, Christmas is back on, everyone. Christmas is still happening. It's just gonna be different this year, and it is what it is.
It's indicative of the rest of the year, though. This entire year is different.
Yeah, well, so that's where I got the idea of. I mentioned the show, the last show of the year is a Seinfeld, a tribute to Seinfeld. So we are doing on the 23rd in observance
Nice.
of Festivus on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We're doing the airing of grievances, where we are going to. I'm just saying we're gonna share all of the people, all of the ways, and all of the things that have disappointed us this past year. And that's going to be fun. But then, and spoiler alert for the few people that are here with us today, that's not all. Then it's going to get into, okay, what are you grateful for the year? What are you looking forward to, and what are your goals for 2021? So it's not all going to be just like, complaints of all the people who have wronged us, because there's a lot to talk about there.
So
but,
just one question: why do you keep looking at me when you say people have disappointed us? I mean, that's
well. I mean,
How do you
Jared,
know he's looking at you?
I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this. I was actually saving it for that show. But let me tell you all of the ways that you have disappointed me this year.
Let me get my note paper out here.
Every time I say
just record this, like this is recorded, right? It's a lot easier than taking notes.
It is. But every time I say that, I think of Jerry Stiller, who was Frank Costanza, doing. Let me tell you all the ways you've disappointed me this year, and it was awesome.
So you know how time kind of morphs, and you can't remember whether it was this year, last year. He passed away relatively recently, like.
I think last year.
Last year?
I think so.
Sorry,
I mean, no, that's fine. I mean, this is what this show's about. No, May 11th, 2020. Wow.
So it was a long time ago.
Well,
it was like
I mean,
6 years ago.
It feels like it was 6 years ago, but
yet it was also yesterday.
It was 6 months ago. Like that's incredible. It does feel like that news came out a long time ago, but it was a very different world in May as compared to now. I mean,
it was a lot more stressful in May.
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Jen?
Well, it was all still new, and when you're going through any kind of change, there is a period of disruption.
Yes.
Not sure if you're aware of this.
No, share with me.
So, I mean, in May, we're still in this, some of us are still in that state of denial. Sorry, Judy.
Thanks, Judy. And Judy, thanks for joining us. I know it's Thanksgiving over with you, so appreciate you, man.
Yeah. But I was still in that transition phase. I was still in that. I certainly wasn't in denial. I went straight for depression. But that was May. And then I think as restrictions started to lift, then it starts to ease a little bit. And now it sort of feels like a little bit like, okay, yeah, no, just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're starting to tighten up again.
Well, and you, I mean, for those that haven't been able to pick up on the delightful accent, you join us from the Atlantic provinces, which had a nice little bubble going for a while.
Yeah,
and it was the envy of the country, like,
right.
So that's got, like, for me, the restrictions never felt like they lifted. People got a little bit more complacent. And it was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to my parents' place. I'm going to go inside. I'm going to wear a mask. But it was never like, there wasn't that, like, it's normal. And it was, so I think your experience was a little different.
Maybe. I mean, it never really went normal, but it was like, we can go out to a restaurant and eat. And we can drive to New Brunswick and visit family, which we won't be doing over Christmas. Right. And we can have friends over, and we can. So now we're back to restaurants and bars are closed again. I think yoga. I got to my last yoga class yesterday. I also kind of had pneumonia for the last 6 weeks.
Oh.
So I haven't been going anywhere because I was coughing.
Right.
And when you cough for any reason, you're not, So here I was one day picking up my dog after doggy daycare. And I announced to everybody in place, okay, everybody, you hear me coughing? It's pneumonia. I've been tested COVID negative. I could see everybody's shoulders drop.
Yeah. But I haven't, knock on wood, I have not been sick, which is actually, I guess, one benefit of it. I have not been sick in the last, since March. which is nice because normally I get really, really sick at whenever my last like conference or talk or whatever of the year. The next day, it's almost like I'm fighting it, and then I don't have anything else to do.
And your body's like, okay, it's a good opportunity.
And it's like, okay, so it's been building up. I mean, I've got a couple more webinars that I'm doing for some of the IIBA chapters in the middle of December. But other than that, like I don't have a lot for my outside stuff. Work stuff is different, but I'm not feeling that same pressure that I normally feel around this time of year, because this is a busy time where we're traveling a lot.
True.
And so that part of it is a bit weird, but I haven't been sick. Again, knock on wood. Tomorrow I will like keel over, and but I have not been sick, which is nice. And what role that plays in just staying away from people, I don't know. But like your husband, Jen, I've also been practicing for this my whole life.
Yep.
And and yet I still at this point miss the people I miss. There are other people who was like, oh, I forgot that person existed.
You mean like Jared?
No, Jared's my boy. But there are people.
I had to pick on Jared. Everybody else is.
Oh, it's fine. But there are people that like someone will I'll have a conversation with someone like, oh yeah, I was just talking to Dave. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about Dave. Like Dave left and Dave is a fictitious name. Don't exactly. It's not like
you're talking about.
It's not like Jen's co-host Dave Schaefer. It was just a name that popped into my head.
Hang on, I gotta text Dave and tell him you forgot about him.
I did not. Dave had a great story when he was on a couple weeks ago. I loved Dave. Dave was on with Patty from the UK, and it was such a fun show. But Dave talking about going for a walk. If you haven't seen the episode, check it out.
I have actually
going for a walk in the provincial park, and people are like stay away from me. Like just I love that story.
Holding their breath.
Well,
but I just picked a name. So like, talking to people and like, oh yeah, I was talking to Chris at work, and like, oh, I didn't realize Chris still worked here. Like people have left my head. There's Jen's COVID kicking in.
That's in the basement. Right?
Sorry?
In The Office, the movie. The guy that's
yeah.
Oh yeah, with the red stapler.
Yeah, the red stapler guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it Kevin?
Oh jeez. Now I gotta check. I'm gonna Google red stapler. Red stapler guy. Let's see what his name is. Melvin, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Milton.
Okay.
There we go. See the power of the internet. AJ, quick on the draw. Thank you, brother.
Nice.
And Stefan joining us from Belgium. Welcome, Stefan. Yeah. So he was stuck in the basement, but he was always just kicked down. I don't think they forgot him. Yeah. I think it was just like, we just want you out of the way.
Yeah.
Right. And then hilarity ensues. For those that have not seen Office Space, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. I have a reference to Office Space in one of my presentations. And basically, if you haven't seen it, go see it because you are living it.
So
right?
So I gotta come clean here. I know that the whole gist of it. I don't know if I've ever actually seen it from beginning to end. So I think I have a challenge for this weekend.
Everyone, the show is over. We're gonna start watching Office Space right now.
I always ruin the show, Vince. I'm so sorry.
It's so worth it. It's anyone that has worked in an office will appreciate. Then when you're done that, go watch Idiocracy.
Yes, because we're living that now too, aren't we?
We are living that now.
Well, not anymore. It's coming to an end. Ish.
I'm still scared.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm still concerned. You
Long as
never
they
know.
don't-
You never know what tricks people have up their sleeves. It scares me a little bit.
It's when we start watering the plants with Gatorade that I'd be concerned.
Yeah. But it has everything that we need.
True.
Why aren't our plants growing? Because you're watering them with Gatorade. But it has everything we need. Yeah, but what a
You're a genius.
What a stupid movie. But Jared, if you haven't seen it, Idiocracy, check it out. Dumb premise, but it's a lot of parallels to what we're going through right now.
So it's interesting. You mentioned, and then the stupidest movie I think I've ever seen is Dude, Where's My Car?
Yes, that is a really dumb movie.
And then, so my boss used to say that because we would say something and he'd say, and then, and then. It was just, when you said that, I was totally thinking of Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah, Dude, I actually paid money to go see Dude, Where's My Car at the theater because I thought, Kelso and Stifler, what could go wrong? What a terrible piece of crap.
Exactly.
But, hey, I also...
And then reference.
Yeah. I also paid money to go see Coyote Ugly with some friends because they thought it was going to be a bar movie, and we really weren't ready for the plot of women coming together and bonding over their shared experiences at working at a bar. Wasn't ready for it. So, but that was another movie that I did see at the theater in my younger days. So there you go.
I don't think I've even heard of that one.
Yeah, it wasn't, again, not a great movie. Probably should have gone straight to DVD, but
Did they have DVD back then?
Jen, I'm not that old.
Yes,
right, you're younger than me. I keep forgetting.
We had. I was in like, I think I was just finishing university, or I was like halfway through university at that point. So this would have been like the early 2000s. So,
okay,
we had DVDs. We didn't have Blu-rays, but we had DVDs.
Right.
Okay. So there you go. All right, Jared, how are you handling things? What has been the Western experience with COVID?
So I won't get into politics, so I'll probably just shut up. Because I don't think our province is handling it properly. I don't think they ever had. I'm not ashamed to be from Alberta, but I'm ashamed of our reaction to it. We should have put in. See, here I'm getting political. When I said I was going.
Yeah, it's fine.
We should have gone to lockdown like weeks ago, like a couple weeks after Canadian Thanksgiving, when we really shot up. Every other province decided to take at least some actions. Ours decided to open bars. I mean, it was just, I just shake my head.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think that's getting political. I think that's just what you are seeing, and I mean, we're seeing the same thing. I think, to me, when I, at least from afar, watching on the news, the provinces that I think are handling it, at least politically, are handling it the best are BC and Manitoba. And I know Manitoba has seen a significant spike.
So is BC
in cases, and I know, but I think at least like the when you see the premier of the province, he's like, guys, come on, like, what's wrong with you? Just do what you need to do. I'm actually a little scared to see what comes out of the Quebec plan of opening things up for the holidays. That's concerning, but I mean, we'll see. I'm sure that those decisions have been driven by some sort of logic or data or information. Like, I don't know. But that's concerning.
Can we talk about data for a minute?
Sure.
And I know I usually say, hey, this is supposed to be sitting back at the bar chat, not work talk.
But this happens, right? Like, when you're at the bar, talk about work stuff.
Is it data or is it data?
It's data.
It depends on what part of North America you're in.
Or which
it's like
bedroom you
process,
have in
right?
our house.
Process or process.
Process.
It depends. It depends.
All right. So go ahead, Jen.
So yeah.
It's data for me. It's data for my daughter. So when I'm around her, I say data.
Right.
Because I don't want to be corrected.
Right.
Even though I know I'm right, it's just easier.
Even though she's wrong, you just want to please your stakeholders. Yeah, that's fine.
I've been married for like close to 30 years. I know how it works.
Yeah.
Okay. So data. So my biggest thing when we start seeing the numbers increase again, how if we've been doing all of these things, we've been distancing. Oh, great. Now I'm on a soapbox. We've been distancing. We've been wearing our masks. We've been washing our hands, all of that stuff. How are we getting the same numbers now that we were in the spring? And I think that people may not realize that we're testing like how many times more now, how many more people are being tested. So it's not that we're actually having the same number of cases or higher number of cases. It's just that most of them weren't known before.
And that's true. Like I saw a stat, and that's a fair point. I saw a stat that testing is only capturing about 12%, 1 in 8 cases. So for every one they catch, there's 7 other ones that are just out in the world, right? And so it's possible then. Let's just continue that line of thinking. It's possible then that the numbers were much worse in the first wave, and we just didn't know.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, that's possible. I mean, the thing is, there's no way of knowing. There's no way of going back in time and checking. But that's a real possibility. I think the one thing that I think we are better prepared for this time, and let's continue with data, because the death rate to this point has been lower. And I think it's just an awareness of how to engage the virus.
And catching it early.
And catching it early. But how to engage it is stopping. And what that means, and this is really kind of sad, is that a lot of the deaths that did happen probably were preventable. Because we just didn't know, right? Like, so
right.
Now, again, getting folks to admit that is going to be very difficult, but it doesn't mean that it's not true.
Now, when you say the death rates are lower, are you talking percentage or numbers?
Percentage.
Because think about on the data, right? The percentage is lower because you're catching more. So you've got a higher number of positive cases, therefore the ratio is lower, even though it might be the same.
Right, but I would argue that is actually a good. I see your point. I would say that let's now this. I'm gonna just completely torpedo my argument. And I tend to do that. I was at work the other day. I was having a conversation with someone, and I was like, "No, we can't do that because it doesn't make sense." Although, if we think about it this way, then oh yeah, let's do it that way. And so I completely shifted.
That's awesome. I
have these debates with myself. That's what we do, right? But we're testing a lot more, which I do think is a good thing. Whether the proportions increase or not, I mean, we're testing more. I just think that in absolute numbers, the deaths are coming down. But testing more is a good, like that argument that like, well, we're testing more, that's why we're catching more cases, and that's bad because, like, why? Like, why is that? I never understood that argument.
Me neither. It's well, as a matter of fact, when that statement was first made by an unknown individual,
by somebody in the States, yeah.
We were in the middle of a testing phase where we were, and I said that one day, why don't we just stop testing? Because we're not going to find all these bugs if we just stop testing.
Right.
Just release it and let it go. Let the end user find the problems.
And don't think there aren't people that were like, yeah, we should do that. but I mean, the testing doesn't stop it. Like it's
Exactly.
and
It's like
the
turning off the
rebuttal that I
light.
liked, the rebuttal that I loved was like, well, we'll just stop doing pregnancy tests and no one will get pregnant, or
I
or
love that.
we'll stop screening for cancer and then no one will have cancer. Like
Right.
it doesn't work that way, right? So
Well, I won't. I won't
yeah.
apologize.
AJ, for those that are unaware, AJ is joining us from the sunny state of Florida, and we'll leave that at that. But AJ, you are not a Florida man in my eyes.
He's not from Florida.
I know, but like you
Yeah.
always see in the news, like a Florida man was caught, you know, playing poker.
Doing what?
I had to be careful playing poker with a crocodile. Like you have, it's like really.
The other
Florida
day, I
man.
heard a story about a man wrestling an alligator to get his dog out of the
Oh, that dude was gangster. I loved that video. Did you see it?
I didn't see it. I just heard about it.
Oh, it was amazing. So this, and I mean, it wasn't a big alligator. It was just a little sort of little guy.
So this big.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's still an alligator. Like, respect to this dude. You just see this man go into a pond. You see his arms go under the water. He comes up, and he's got the mouth of the alligator, and the alligator has a puppy in his mouth. The thing about this dude, so he was able to pry the mouth open enough.
Right.
But the most killer part of this dude, he did the whole thing with a cigar in his mouth. Did not drop the cigar. Did not drop the cigar.
See,
like
this. Wow.
He's a man. This is a man right there. Like
that's
it
amazing.
is an amazing video. But yeah, it's like, oh, he risked. Okay, again, not a huge out. It wasn't like that, like, you know, dinosaur era alligator that they showed on TV a couple weeks ago. Like, it was a little guy, but still, he jumped into a pond to save a puppy.
That's like, pretty cool.
That's cool. It's an amazing. If I can find it, we may have our first video ever on this show.
Cool.
Man saves puppy from crocodile. Like I got man saves, and that came up.
Wow. See, while you're bringing that up, you're telling the story, and I'm thinking how hard it is to get something out of the mouth of a puppy, let alone getting a puppy out of the mouth of a crocodile. You know?
Right. And I'm just going to put it in the comments for those that are not that you should go away from this show. We do love you, but you can check this out later. It's the video of the man saving his puppy. Like what? That's love right there. That is love. And I don't even know if it was his puppy. I didn't get that part of the story.
Oh, it was a very small alligator, though.
Again,
it really was.
Jared,
only like 4 feet.
But long. Jared, an alligator. It was still an alligator.
Yeah.
Like,
was it an alligator or a crocodile?
I think they have gators in the States. I think crocodiles are more associated with like the Nile.
Yeah, it's an alligator.
I think it's a gator.
What's the difference?
I believe it has to do with the shape of the snout.
All right.
That alligators have a shorter snout and it's rounder, and crocodiles is longer and more like juddy. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay. AJ, alligators have weak jaw muscles. I wouldn't have known that. So AJ, thank you.
Teach us that when we moved
thank
to
you
Florida.
Thank you for your contribution. That's part of the intro to Florida.
So in other words, it's easier to get a puppy out of the mouth of an alligator than it would be to get an alligator out of the mouth of a puppy.
But still, this dude did not have to go in.
So if you see the video, he actually jumps in the pond.
Yeah.
Like, he's fully submersed in the water. And if you look at it, I mean, think about it. He doesn't know there's any other alligators in that
doesn't.
pond. Like, he doesn't even care.
It's probably his pet alligator and it's all staged.
I don't think so. I think that's a heady comment there, Jen.
Fake news.
I don't think so. But you're right. He doesn't know what's in there. He
could be a manatee.
Could be a manatee. They're pretty gentle though.
They are.
Stingray.
They're big, but could be a stingray. Could be anything.
Yeah.
Like, could be that alligator's mama.
Yeah.
Could be, right? So, but he did it without dropping his cigar. It never left his mouth. And for that, Florida man, we salute you.
Cheers. You need a refill, Vince. And I'm going to just dig into my little
I think I'm good.
I need a refill too. I got to dig into my chocolate.
I don't think
for chocolate, you have to go the Canadian route.
You have to go for coffee. Yes. Yes.
So
Right?
here's
Coffee Crisp or real Smarties.
Smarties. There you go. Exactly. So I've got IKEA chocolate. It's not Canadian, but it's dark chocolate,
Okay.
right? Which is healthy. They say 1 square of dark chocolate is healthy. 1 square a day, right?
Sure.
Right?
Hard now,
Sure.
but okay.
So take.
That's a square.
That is a square.
Yep.
Well played, Jen. Well played. Well played. I don't think I gotta, like, after this show is done, I gotta go have dinner and like do that stuff. So I don't think I can have another one.
Another okay, because
yeah,
you have children to
I gotta at least
rear.
I have to give the appearance that daddy's in control.
You
And I mean, I gotta be there, and I also want to hear about their day and, like, you know,
parenting.
Yeah, well, yes, I want to hear about all the things. It's they've been doing a week of anti-bullying, which is really cool. So yesterday was pink shirt day, and I went up. So I came down to my office to set some stuff up. Yesterday morning, I went back up when the kids were still sleeping, and then I'm getting them dressed, and they're wearing pink, and I was actually wearing this shirt, and they looked at me.
What day was it?
This was yesterday.
Wednesday. Sunday.
It's my Sunday fun day. It's football day.
Oh,
so
okay.
Whatever.
Right.
It's a shirt. I don't.
Okay, go.
This is not like those underwear that have like the days of the week on them, Jen. Like, it's just a shirt.
Okay, just checking.
But my girls were both wearing pink shirts. My wife was wearing a pink shirt, and I'm like, oh, you guys are all wearing pink today. And my oldest said, it's pink shirt day. I said, oh, okay. I had no idea. So
and I know you have a pink shirt.
And I put on my pink shirt. And then at the end of the day, my daughter came back and she's like, we found out, why they have pink shirt day and why you wear the pink shirt. And she's like, but anyone can wear a pink shirt. It doesn't matter that you, like, a boy can't wear a pink shirt. I'm like, yeah, daddy looks good in pink. Like, I wear pink all the time because I look good in it. And she's like, yeah, you do. I'm like, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, my new favorite color.
No, they're both delightful. But I don't. We make a point of everything is equal with them. Like, so yeah, I know. But some people don't. Some people do play favorites, and it's sad. But anyways, we don't. We try not to. So it was anti-bullying, and that got me thinking about, we do bullying in the workplace, and we probably should have had Paul. Peltier, who was on the first edition, the all Canadian edition of this show. But it got me thinking about, how much bullying there is in the workplace, and it got me wondering if that has stopped, or that, because stopped is a very finite word. Whether it has decreased as a result of being distributed. I would be interested to know, and I'm putting that out there as a conversation.
I would wonder if it actually has gotten worse.
Right. Okay.
Because the people doing the bullying tend to be your micromanager controlling people, right?
Yeah, but when you do things distributed, there's an audit trail. There's a like, I have to write. I can't stand over your shoulder and intimidate you. I can't, like, there are those microaggressions or those aggressions that you can't get away with in a virtual world. Although, I mean, who's to say there aren't others that maybe I'm not like I'm not in a I don't have a bully at the moment, so I don't know. But it just got me thinking about like, I'm glad because we didn't have Pink Shirt Day when I was in school. Like it's just you got
Right.
bullied and you had to deal with it. And
And
so
and I distinctly remember something that even at the time I was a coward. I was like I don't know, like I was 9 years old or something like that. I don't remember.
yeah.
And we weren't as aware as our kids are. I can
No.
remember walking by a bunch of like 3 or 4 boys, one sitting down crying and then putting worms in his hair and thinking, I felt so bad for that boy as I walked away.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But nowadays, there's the bystander thing. Like our kids are taught, you stop it or you tell
Mm-hmm.
somebody. Or
Mm-hmm.
so here I am as an adult going, hey, kid, whoever you were, sorry.
Yeah.
Wish I was stronger to have said or done something. I knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
But our kids now know, right? Like they're taught from day one. It's
They're
not
way
okay,
they're way
right?
more socially aware than we are. And I mean we're of a similar vintage. So like, you know, we went to the same, yes, we were in different provinces, but we went to the
Hmm.
same schools.
Right, right.
And yeah, I think, and this is sort of that democratization that the internet brings, is this awareness and this ability to share information and really, and I mean, if you think about what the pink shirt thing has become,
Hmm.
it is a national. I don't know if they have it in the States, so I can't say to that,
I
but this is
I
the
think they
Canadian.
do.
Do they?
You know where it started though, right?
It was in the East Coast.
It was in Nova Scotia. It was in the
Yeah,
Valley.
yeah,
Because a kid wore a pink shirt and was getting bullied, and then all these other guys said that's not fair, so they decided to wear pink,
yeah.
and somehow Oprah picked it up, I think.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I know. I got that. I didn't, not the Oprah part, but I got that story yesterday
yeah.
when my oldest came back and told me why we have Pink Shirt Day.
Ah,
And
interesting.
I know, and so that was part of her learning, was why we do these things. And I think I it gives me hope for the future because everyone on the way up is so much more socially aware.
Hmm.
I think it then becomes, if there's going to be any downfall to this social awareness, it's just going to be how broken everything is. And it then becomes like you almost get to the point where you just give up. It's like I have to solve bullying, I have to solve racial inequality, social inequality, economic inequality, and just it's a lot. And so what I try to tell people, and what I try to teach, is like, nobody's going to solve everything. So you
Hmm.
have to pick one problem that you want to help the
Yep.
world solve. And just that's the thing that you need. Like you look at someone like Greta, and her last name escapes me.
Thornburg.
Greta Thunberg, who's just like, she I'm sure she's aware of a lot of social issues,
Right.
but she is like all
She picked
in
one. Yeah.
for climate change. And I think, I mean, if there's going to be one, that's probably the
Hmm.
one. But like, I think that's a good thing.
And yeah, absolutely. And I think that's an amazing message that you're giving to your children too, because
Trying to,
you
yeah.
look at the level of anxiety in my daughters who are 18 and 22,
Hmm.
and they are at that age, that social activist age, right? When your brain is like wired to want to fix everything.
Yeah.
And then they realize it's like they just, you can't. It's like looking
No.
at a huge project and not breaking it down,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right. Right. And so it means that you now have to be reliant on other people to pick up the causes that you can't.
Right.
And it doesn't mean you don't care about them. It just
Right.
means that you need to focus your energy elsewhere. And I think
Right.
in the end, like I look at, the UN global goals as like, those are the big sort of wicked problems that we need to solve as a world.
Mhm.
and you can't do them all. You need to pick one, right? Because you can't, rid the ocean of plastic, but also work on, food security, and also like it's impossible. It's impossible.
Right.
But pick the one, and I'm actually, I find myself going through this process of what's the thing that I can help with, because I still haven't given up on that early 20s ideal of like I can change the world. I haven't done it yet, which is
that's good.
I haven't been beaten down that much yet.
And I don't think we should ever give up on it, but I think as you get older, you realize what's realistically possible.
Yes.
Yeah,
fair.
And you know that you can't spread yourself that thin and expect things to change.
No.
You can't boil the ocean.
No.
You can't drink from a fire hose.
Exactly.
No.
Doesn't work.
And some other cliche that I have, like,
come on, Vince, you got to have one.
I'm This is good. This is good stuff.
I on the same note.
Yes.
I remember being at a Toastmasters meeting one time, and I don't know if you're familiar with Toastmasters, but they have a section in the meetings where you're given a random topic and you have 2 minutes to talk about it. And one of the questions at one of these meetings stuck with me. It wasn't even my question, but it stuck with me. Would you rather be ignorant and happy, or really knowledgeable and unhappy? Like, there's not even a simple answer to that.
Jared, do you want to try? I've got an answer.
My dog wants to answer, apparently.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, it's a tough question, because even if you look at, aren't we all ignorant? In some way,
I don't know that I would call it ignorance, but I think there's a lot of things that we're not aware of. And if you want to call that ignorance, so be it, right?
Ignorance, doesn't it?
Well, ignorance to me, so again, this might be just
that's the
how it's
definition
framed,
of ignorance.
Right? But is it? Like, to me, ignorance is almost like I don't know and I don't want to know.
No, I think ignorance is just I don't know.
Okay.
I used to think it was that way too, but
if that's the definition, I'd rather be ignorant and happy. Knowing full well that
I wouldn't.
Always going to be something I don't know. Always.
But that's impossible. Like, you can never know everything.
So
I would go the other way. I would say knowledgeable but unhappy, because at least then you're equipped with the tools to try to bring some happiness. I think a lack of knowledge is fatal. So I wouldn't want that.
See, the more I learn, the more I'm exposed to, the more I swing toward I'd rather be ignorant and happy. My dog's pretty happy.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything that's going on in the world.
COVID's around.
I know, but that doesn't mean the bad things don't happen.
Right. And maybe, okay, so now I'm going to come over to Vince's way of thinking, because this is what we do, right? Because maybe if you are aware and then, like you said, you have the tools to know how to deal with it, and you learn to tune it out so that you can still be happy. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, so I'll give. Not a lot of people know this. In 2003, I was like right out of university. I ran for local government in the city of Toronto, and I lost. I came second in my race. Didn't lose by a lot, but I lost. And I always thought, eventually, at some point in my career and some point in my life, I will go back to the political sphere, because not because I'm politically savvy but I just, there's this desire to make the world and society better for people, which is probably this predates me in business analysis. So like, even though I was doing that, I was still doing business analysis. I didn't know what it was, and it was part of how. So when I see the things, and again, not to make this political, but when I see the things that were being said south of our border, infiltrating us, and you hear things like, we are going to bring Canada back, and you think, was Make Canada Great Again not available? Like, when you hear things like that, I was actually telling people, like, this might be enough to push me back into politics, probably at a local level, but like, it's scary. And to me, ignoring that and just going about your day, and just like, it's not an option. It's not, to me, it's not an option.
See, I believe that we all have a purpose, and it's within us, and we don't have to figure it out. It will reveal itself, and it sounds like yours has revealed itself. And I'm not even drinking, and I'm saying this stuff. It's the caffeine. But no, I think we all have, and it goes back to, what's your cause? What's your thing?
And for me, it's solving problems. And whether I'm doing it for an organization, or whether I'm doing it for a town or a city or a province or a country or a whatever, like, that's what I do. So I've always said, like, when I'm retired and I'm done, I'll go back and I'll do something.
So Vince, what you're saying is you're going to identify needs, recommend solutions that provide value to your stakeholders?
Yes, Jared.
Business analysis everywhere.
I know, brother. Hey, I gave you a shout out on Adrian's show, because that thing about the grocery store and how if you go grocery shopping, you're a business analyst. That was a trigger for, like, it was like an unlock of, like, holy crap, Jared's right. And I don't get to say that very often.
No one does.
I don't get to say that very often, but Jared is right. He's like, and so, yeah, I think that's, so to me, now here's on the other side, Jen, just to I said earlier that I have debates with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I see the benefit of just remaining ignorant and being happy, because sometimes I see people like that, and you get a little envious of, like, I wish I was that happy, but it's not an option for me.
The happiest people in the world tend to be the ones that have less. And I don't know, and I mean, that may not be relative at all,
nothing,
because just because you have less doesn't mean you're not smart. But if you have less to lose, you have less to worry about.
Yeah, and that's true. And that's behind that whole minimalist movement, right? Like, I don't want a lot of things. I don't want a lot of distractions. Anyways.
Yeah.
This has been like the deepest episode ever. And yet still a lot of fun. So much fun. I don't know if you guys have noticed the little timer in the top. We only have 2 minutes left, or 90 seconds left. So we're at time. But I do want to give you a last minute for thoughts and for reflections, and this will probably be the last time we see you guys this year on this show. So what message do you want to leave Amy and AJ, and I think I saw Mohammed from Egypt on, and Judy, and I think that's small. Stefan, small group today, but small but mighty. Jen, what message you want to leave them with today?
Oh boy, it is Thanksgiving, and given what I was just talking about, having less and being happier, I would say be thankful for what you have. No matter how bad things seem, there's always something to be thankful for. Nothing lasts forever.
Good or bad.
And good, exactly. Yeah. So and I said this to my daughter earlier today, because she's starting to get into that that mode again of anxiety and because of the situation. And but nothing lasts forever. So if you think of nothing else, if you cannot bring yourself out of that real negative way of thinking, at least keep in mind the one thing is that it is not forever. That's a guarantee. That's a promise.
Great message. I love that.
Jen, my former boss, one of my mentors, told me about these two boxes that her father had on his desk her entire life growing up. And on one box, it was labeled in good times. And the other box, it was labeled in bad times. And either one, when you opened either one of them, it didn't matter which one, on the bottom, inside the box, on the bottom, it said, "This too shall pass," right? So no matter what happens, good times, bad times, both of them are around the corner. We got to make the best of it. So I'm going to add to that and say that, obviously I wish everyone a thankful time, a Thanksgiving for, this reminds me of the 1993 World Series race where the Blue Jays won and all 14 Americans watched it. Kind of the same concept.
Yeah.
But, be thankful. We have a lot more things to be thankful for than we have to be afraid of, or that they're going wrong. It's interesting if you look at the Boston bombing of 2015, I guess.
I want to say, 2014, 2015. It was, definitely recent, but yeah.
But when the bomb went off, if you look at the video, there were more people running towards the victims to help out than were running away to save themselves. We have a lot to be thankful for in this world, wherever you are. And we just need to realize that we have a lot going for us. So just stay positive. This too shall pass.
Yeah. In the immortal words of Led Zeppelin, good times, bad times, I've had my share. And I think those are great messages to leave to close this episode of Analysts After Work. You both know how much I appreciate you. You are welcome back anytime. For those that did join, I appreciate you as well. We're back next week with another episode, but this has been Analysts After Work with Jen and Jared. See you in the next one.
Thanks, everyone.